Yes, hello guys. Very, very positive news from Mikel Arteta today about the injuries we have. Very great news actually. 4 players back or hopefully to be back. Calafiori, Ben White, Kai Havertz, most importantly, and Mikel and Ødegaard. So I'll start with the questions that he was asked during the press conference today. He said on how Calafiori is after the weekend, because after the last match we played, he was injured during the warm-up against Wigan, so he could not play. And Arteta said he's fine. He was training with us today. He's feeling better, and hopefully he's fit for tomorrow, which is actually very, very fantastic news because Calafiori is actually a very, very great player. He's someone that I see as a very integral part of this Arsenal team. And that is because he's a defender that contributes well and he contributes immensely to the attack. Unlike our traditional defenders, say Nkapi. Nkapi is good as a defender, but Nkapi plays more defense than Calafiori. And for Calafiori, I actually feel that is the knock he got at the last warm-up was precautionary, because one thing I've noticed with Arteta is he does not take chances. Once you feel something, it happened with Trossard, it happened with Bukayo, it happened with Calafiori, it happened with Declan Rice, with most of our players this season actually, with Zubimendi. Once it says that you're feeling something, maybe a knock, it takes you out. Same thing happened with who was that, Bukayo, when Noni had to come in the Premier League. So good news for Calafiori. And like I was saying, he can drive the ball well, and he has a very good combination with Leandro Trossard, and which I think would help from the left wing. The same combination that Ben White, Benny Blanco, and Bukayo had last season is what I think Calafiori and Trossard they have on the left wing. So great news from Arteta about Calafiori. Then on Ben White, he said coming off against Wigan, he came off, he had to come off. And of course, later that evening, Ben White put up a status on his Instagram handle where he said he's actually fine, no injuries. And Arteta said it was just a bit of fatigue. Obviously, he did a lot in the game, and by the end of it, he was feeling a bit of tightness in the hamstring, but he's fine. So according to Arteta, Ben White is fine. I know he won't start against what's the name? Again, he won't start against Wolves tomorrow, but it's just good to know that you have a player and you have backup for Jurriën Timber. Jurriën Timber has actually been very, very fantastic after his ACL injury. It's actually very surprising that he has not gotten injured with the intensity of the EPL, with the strength he has, with the fact that he has to bust to and fro that right flank. It's a handful of players that would go, especially defenders, that travels to and fro that right wing, or any defender that will go on an ACL injury that won't continue to get injured. Look at Rodri, for instance. Rodri is still injured since his ACL injury, and he has not been the same Rodri that we know. On Ødegaard, he said for Wolves, he's not going to be fit, but for Sunday, we are very hopeful that he can be with us. And Sunday is the North London derby against Tottenham, but for Wolves, he's not going to be fit. And Ødegaard has been in and out of injuries since the beginning of this season. He's had about, he started with his shoulder, if I'm correct, 3 consecutive times. He had to be substituted in the first half of the game, and because of the shoulder injury. So from the shoulder, he moved to the knee. From the knee, I guess, and when we considered against Brentford, yes, it was against Brentford, the goal we considered, I would say the large part of the goal is due to complacency from Ødegaard. he should have defended that, but he did not, and I guess that's where the injury emanated from, because he sprained his knee, and I guess he was subbed off in that game, or subbed off in the game. But good news, it won't be a long-term injury. And the reason I'm saying all this is because we are approaching the end of the season where we need all our players fit. We need all our players available. We need all the players available. And we don't have one area. One area has been loaned out to Marseille. So we need all the players we can get. And finally on Kai Havertz, which is great news. So I was earlier this week, I was just looking up Kai Havertz. Okay, when will Kai Havertz be back? And I saw online that he won't play again in February. He would play maybe mid-March. But when Arteta was asked, he said Kai is the other one. That again for the weekend is a possibility. So looking to have him in the squad. So if he's saying for the weekend is a possibility, that means we can have him maybe in the bench tomorrow against Wolves, or he even starts against Tottenham on Saturday or Sunday this weekend. So fingers crossed. I'm really happy that Kai Havertz injury is actually not a long-term injury, and it's going to bring competition in the squad. So if all these players are fit, the only long-term injury we'll have will be Mikel Merino, because Mikel Merino should be out till maybe April or May, but I'm sure he'll be ready for the World Cup, which is also a big blow for us now. We have Chelsea game coming up after the Tottenham game, after the North London derby. We have another derby at the Emirates against Chelsea. I won't say luckily, because I wouldn't wish injury on any of my players, but I would say Kukurea won't be available for the Arsenal game, which is a massive advantage for us now. So that being said, massive great news. We have at least 4 of our players back. And against Wolves, of course, I wouldn't want Calafiori to start tomorrow. I still want my backline would be Timber, Gabriel, Saliba. Incapi can play the left back. I want Calafiori fit for the North London derby. Then in the midfield, Zubi and Rice should be back in the midfield. Eze should be back in the midfield. Then left, we have Martinelli. Martinelli can start. I think Madueke should retain his spot in the team. 2 goals in his last two games. Scored against Brentford, scored against Wigan Athletic earlier this week as well. So he should maintain his spot. Then Gyökeres too should also start. Actually, any of Gyökeres or Jesus should start, but I'm sure Gyökeres will start because Gabi Jesus played the full 90 minutes in our win against Wigan. Yes. Then moving on to Bukayo Saka news. Bukayo Saka just signed a 5-year deal or just extended his contract, 5-year deal with Arsenal. What's my honest opinion about this? I think Bukayo has actually been a very fantastic player over the years. However, this season he has been down. I don't know, maybe it's due to injuries, maybe it's due to overload, maybe, but he has not been the Bukayo that we've always known. Bukayo that we've always known is a very fierce attacking forward, take on players, dribbles players, takes shots when is necessary, does not take extra touches on the ball. But this season he has not been himself. Can't remember. I don't think Bukayo has even scored up to maybe 5 or 6 goals this season. Of course, he was injured for some parts, but he's still not 100% fit. So good one for him. Hopefully in this run of games, he's able to pick his form and we are able to get the Bukayo that we all know, and we have him back before the end of the season, and of course for the World Cup. Lastly, our FA Cup draw. The draw was done yesterday, and Arsenal, we are going away to Mansfield Town. I honestly don't know any player in Mansfield, so don't ask me to name any Mansfield Town player. So we are going away to Mansfield Town to play them, and it's slightly. Number one, I think it's a great draw. at least for Arsenal, for Chelsea. Chelsea, they play Wrexham, if I'm correct. Yeah, Chelsea plays Wrexham. Man United, I guess they are playing maybe on the 7th. I don't know. You can tell me the team that United are actually playing against. United. So difficult draw for Man City. They are going away again to Newcastle. I don't know how many times they want to play Newcastle this season. They are going away to Newcastle. And I'm a bit excited because apart from the fact that it's going to be away to Newcastle, City would be, they can't afford to rest their players. They would start the important players. They will start Gay. They want to start Haaland. They want to start most of their they want to start Semenyo against Newcastle because it's actually going to be a very difficult game. Unlike Arsenal and other EPL teams that can afford to rest at least most of their starting 11 players for the FA Cup draw. So very fantastic draw. Arsenal goes away to Mansfield, and the match is later in March, if I'm correct. And to take place later in March. So fingers crossed we win that and we progress to the quarterfinal, where at least we can now start facing serious teams, and hopefully maybe there's an upset and one of the big teams gets knocked out of the competition. Of course, not Arsenal. And that's that. So to round everything up, looking forward to the Wolves game tomorrow. It's going to be a very, 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 very interesting game. Arteta said it in his press conference. He said it's, of course, the first leg at the Emirates. In our home, we didn't score a goal. They scored all the 3 goals. They scored 2 goals for Arsenal, and they scored their only goal, 2-1. And if care was not taken, they could have equalized. So I want Arsenal to take this game very seriously, and before the end of the first half, we should be at least 1 or 2 goals up. Then there won't be any pressure on the team to maybe get injured, to mount pressure on themselves. So it should be a comfortable 2-0, 3-0 Arsenal win tomorrow against Wolves. And we look forward to the North London derby on Saturday or Sunday against Tottenham. And hopefully we have Kai Havertz back. At least if he's not starting, he would be in the bench. He will be on the bench. And maybe any of Saka or Ødegaard or Eze can. Of course, Eze can also start. The last game he had an hat-trick against Spurs. So maybe was signed for the Spurs derby. Who knows? So looking forward to the game tomorrow and to the game at the weekend. And hopefully we get 6 wins out of 6. Good to have Kai back, good to have Calafiori back, good to have Ødegaard back, and good to have Ben White back into the team. No long-term injuries aside for Merino. Great for the team. And looking forward to the match tomorrow. Bye.